Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
We've had a hectic couple of minutes and bless Samantha's heart. She's been running around and now I'm going to have a coughing fit. It's all good. In any case, thrilled to be here with you.
Yes, thrilled to be here with you.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Nancy.
Did we establish that? And we've got a big show.
We've got several guests, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Grant Monnier. Now, I don't remember. I know we've talked about his work on the show before, but I don't remember if we've had Grant himself on.
I don't think we've had Grant himself.
I don't think we have either, but he's a beautiful, beautiful artist that makes these wonderful collages from torn paper. Anytime, somebody talks to me about, oh, my child has this perseveration,
right.
I always like to bring up all the cases that I know of people who have taken a perseveration, whether they're on the spectrum or not, taken a perseveration and turned it into the passion that drives their life and brings
something
them
purposeful.
Money. And Grant is a perfect example of that.
He is.
So he's going to be with us a little bit later on. But before that, we've got Laura Doherty. And she's from the Waggy Dog Project.
Yes.
I love it when we talk about the doggies.
Me too.
On the show.
She co-founded that in 2017, and she's going to tell us about that. She has 2 kids on the spectrum.
Amazing, amazing. But first, we got a little bit of news for you guys.
About the first story is CD is expanding their autism monitoring efforts and begin factoring the experiences of teenagers with a developmental disorder.
I think a lot of people don't understand that, those prevalence numbers that we get every couple of years that come out of the CDC, and the most recent one, was it this year I can't remember, was it this year or last year it was this year, wasn't it, that we got the 1 in 59?
1 in 59.
And, and everybody goes, oh, they start talking about these numbers, but I know for a lot of years I didn't understand where those numbers came from and how dated they were. They were looking at a very specific group of kids they were looking at 8-year-olds. And so when you get the numbers, they're from 6 years before, I think it is. It is so dated.
Yes, there's a big lag time.
Because it takes them a while to collect the data and then a while to interpret it and then a while to get it back. But so I remember waiting for when were the numbers going to include my son. And now the numbers do include our sons.
Right.
But now they're teenagers. And there's a whole host of other things going on. So this is interesting to me that the CDC is going to look at not only the 8-year-olds, but they're going to look at a group of older kids that are teenagers.
16-year-olds who were previously identified as having autism symptoms in the network's tracking when they were 8.
And so they're going to be looking at 16-year-olds essentially next year and the year after, and that they're saying, so that will include my son.
Right.
Wyatt will already be 17.
Right.
But that Jem will be included in this study, I would think. And that then they're saying that we should be able to look at that in, are you ready for this? Everybody take a deep breath. Sometime between 2022 and 2024.
Right.
That's how long it takes. Now, I'm grateful that they're going to start to look at teenagers. I think that that's important that they're going to look at them. I think we've been asking for this kind of thing for a long time because the funding tends to go to the kids that are younger. And if they do more research on the older kids, I think that will open up doors to more funding. But just don't anybody think you're going to see anything change until around 2022 or through 2024.
Right.
Yawn.
I know.
Right? I mean, my goodness. I don't understand why it takes that long, but I want them to do it carefully and thoughtfully, but I don't understand why it takes so long.
In another story, we've got Peter Brabazon of Special Eastern Ireland. We've had the head of Special Eastern on before.
We have.
And he told Inspire Fest 2018 how people with autism are untapped wealth of talent.
And don't we just agree with that? I think that that's a sentiment that we share here, that I think that until we get to critical mass where people on the spectrum are looked at as equals first and then looked at as having unique talents, that we're always going to fall short, right? And that we are starting to see, first of all, in films, we're starting to see that, we have superheroes with autism now that have unique and special talents. We have, all these different ways that we're showing autism as being something that isn't a negative. And then we're also seeing these big corporations who are saying we need people with autism to work in our field.
Right.
And
It's
to
not only a
cultivate them.
negative, but can be a positive.
A way positive. I always think back to Temple Grandin talking about the Fukushima power plant and about how they had the tsunami and water came in over the wall and flooded the Fukushima plant. And I remember Temple saying, you see, this is the problem with the world. If a person with autism had designed that plant, that would never have happened. She said,
Why
if
is
you
that?
had shown me the plans, she said, I could have told you that water was going to come over. I would have said to you, how close is this to the beach? And if you have a big wave, it's going to come over. And she said, a neurotypical would look at that and go, we're far enough from the beach. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And she said, this is catastrophic. Catastrophic that this happened, and it was simply a design flaw that could have been avoided. And she said, this is what you're going to see moving forward, is that companies are going to need someone with an autistic brain to look at that plan and go, that's not going to work.
They would see that level of detail?
Absolutely. Well, because she separates the autism brain into 3 different categories, right? There's the visual people, there's the concept thinkers, and then I can never remember what the third one is, but there's a third type of brain. But the concept thinkers are able to see big picture. And I always would look at what my son could do, and I didn't understand it. I'm a visual person. So when Temple talks, I get it entirely. When she talks about how she sees things, I think that's my strongest sense too. Maybe I rely on other things as well, which is different from Temple, but I understand what she's saying when she says, you say a church, and all these pictures pop up in her brain. And then you say a white church, and it's like Google Pictures, and she takes it down. But the first time I heard her explain concept thinkers, whole concept thinkers, and she would say, these are people who can take a piece of paper and tell you how many folds you have to make to be able to origami, make a thing, and they can see it in their head. I can't even imagine that. But she said you can show them a picture and their brain fills in what's on the other side. And I remember the first time we were watching a commercial and they showed like a virtual room and they showed first from the ceiling drop down a drivetrain to a car, right? So there was just like the exhaust system and the wheels, and then the seats came down, and then the top of the car came down. And Jem got up and went, oh, because that's how he sees the world.
Oh, he's a concept thinker.
He's a concept thinker. And I also remember taking him to Disneyland, and they were showing us a model of the castle for Disneyland, and he could tell me what was on the other side. Without having ever seen. And I was like, how can you know what's on the other side?
What's the third type of thinker? Do you know?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I can never remember.
Okay, Riot's a visual thinker.
Right?
He sees everything visually.
Yes.
He
And
remembers.
responds visually to things. Yeah. Which I get. Maybe that's why I enjoy Wyatt so much and get so much, because you're a visual person too, aren't you?
I don't know that I am.
Interesting.
I don't know that I am.
All right, now when we go to break, I'm going to have to look up what Temple says is the third type of brain, because maybe you're the third, because everybody has a stronger sense, right?
Right.
So what do you think your strongest sense is then?
I think maybe concept. We'll see.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I could sort of see that.
Yeah, I think concept.
Because you can see big concept for television and see things that I'm like, what? What's it look like, Nancy?
Right.
What's it look like?
Right.
Right? Interesting.
Anyway, back to the whole point is that Peter Brabazon, a special Eastern, is really saying that these kids can be a huge asset and great attention to detail, superb ways to detect errors, and he's asking for people to come on the journey and employ our young people.
It's a mission call, and he says to other employers, we would like you to come on our journey, meet our mission and a vision of 5,000 people enabled to be employed in 20 years. So far, they've got about 150. We have a long way to go, and so we hope you can join us in that.
Right.
I think that's amazing.
Hats off to them.
All right.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with Laura Doherty and the Wacky Dog Project.
Woohoo! Stick with us.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Johansson, and this is My Little House.
My Little House is an interactive, multi-sensory educational felt toy that I invented to help develop children's language skills.
I love My Little House.
I've been working as a speech therapist for over 20 years. I have spent my entire career working with young children. I work with children with language delays, and I have many children with significant cognitive disabilities and children on the autism spectrum. It has been a constant challenge finding toys that are fun, educational, and actually engage my students. In every preschool since I've been a young therapist, we carry on these felt boards. Kids love them because they're soft and they're fluffy, and there's usually these little pieces that attach to these boards because felt sticks onto felt. You bring them into the activity because they're putting a piece on the board. So it's almost kind of like magic. So then I just thought, wouldn't it be great if I could just take this one-dimensional board and make it into an actual three-dimensional toy? How cool would that be?
That's the idea behind My Little House. You can spread it out flat like a 4-panel felt board, or here's the cool part. In the blink of an eye, My Little House easily converts into a 3-dimensional reversible house.
This is the outside. This is the inside.
My Little House comes with 36 felt cutout pieces that match outlines in 8 colorful rooms. And they're felt, so they stick. Each piece inside My Little House has been placed with purpose.
For instance, in the kitchen, whole, half, under, on top, inside, big, bigger, and biggest, empty and full, circle, triangle, inside, outside.
Really cool thing, I have a nonprofit, Lecotech. They are the folks that put out the Differently Abled Guide for Toys R Us. They've been doing it for 25 years. They gave me their seal of approval as a toy that they feel is a toy with purpose, and that will make a difference. But My Little House isn't just for kids on the spectrum or with significant disorders. It's also for typically developing 2 to 5-year-olds. It's a fun toy.
Oh, this is so soft. That piece goes.
Recently, I took My Little House to the American Speech and Hearing Association convention in Philadelphia, and the response from my peers was overwhelming. Hundreds of therapists, teachers, and heads of school districts wanted to order them.
It was real validation for me that this truly is a toy that needs to get out there.
Hi, I'm Shannon Penrod. I'm a proud autism mom, I'm a former educator, and I am the host of Autism Live. And as all 3 of those things, I want to recommend to you My Little House. This is one of the smartest toys I have ever seen for teaching language to kids who have emerging language. Whether they're on the autism spectrum or completely neurotypical, it's a great, fun, reinforcing toy, but it's especially great for our kids that are on the autism spectrum because it makes learning fun and it makes it tactile. They have these felt shapes and they get to match them up. And I'm telling you, even the adults love to play with this. We loved this toy so much that we wanted to be able to bring it to you at a great discount. So right now, if you will go to www.smartfelttoys, and when you get to the coupon code, put in a-live.com, you'll get $5 off. Isn't that great? So I want to encourage you, go and get My Little House for all the kiddos in your life.
And we are back with Let's Talk Autism, and we have a very special guest coming to us. Well, she's not coming to us from Scotland, but she lives in Scotland. She's in Georgia today, Laura Doherty. Hi, Laura.
Good morning. How are you?
Very, very good. Welcome to the show. Laura is the mother of 4 boys. If that doesn't keep her busy enough, 13, 7, 5, and 2. Her 2 youngest sons, Logan and Raduri, have autism.
Really?
Okay, and she's an IT consultant, runs her own blog, and co-founded the Waggy Dog Project in 2017. Laura, tell us what the Waggy Dog Project is.
The Waggy Dog Project was set up by myself and a really good friend of mine called Sarah Nisbet. Obviously, having 2 young children on the spectrum, there wasn't a lot available for our children. So we set up the Waggy Dog Project to provide social experiences, clubs, Lego clubs, and we also do autism assistance dogs. And we now branched out and we do a sort of read to me scheme where we go into schools and do some therapy sessions and allow children that are perhaps a little shy to read to the dogs as well.
Oh, okay. So this was Scotland's first special needs dog club?
Yes, we have the only additional needs dog club in the whole of Scotland, and that allows children, not just with autism, but other additional needs as well, to be able to come along and have their own club that they can regularly go to and interact with the dogs. Some of them have their own puppies or older dogs, and some of them have access to our dogs.
Now, Laura, you're busy and you got your hands full. What inspired you to do this?
He's my second youngest son now, Logan. He was diagnosed with autism at 3, and that was a very steep learning curve for me. I knew nothing about autism, but I knew when he was born that he was just wired a little bit differently from my 2 older children. So I did my best to find out, everything I could about autism. And anybody that knows me knows that, if I put my heart and soul into something, I do it to the nth degree. So we set up the Waggy Dog Project to be able to give children similar to Logan access to clubs where they can meet friends and interact on their terms, but also for the parents, because it can be a lonely life.
It certainly can. I'm wondering too, because you've got, Logan is 4 now, but you have another child now that came after him, was diagnosed on the spectrum. I know we have a lot of people that are watching today, Laura, that have multiple children on the spectrum, and maybe if you could just talk a little bit about what that was like when you realized that you had another son on the spectrum.
So, when we went through the testing with Logan, who's the second youngest, he's actually now 5. So he got all the genetic testing and everything done. Also, I'm obviously an older mum, so I was pregnant at the time when Logan was going through testing. They did some testing of me as well. I knew the ratio would be a little bit higher, and also because I knew it was a boy, that it's not isolated, obviously, to boys, but it's predominantly, there's a higher occurrence with boys. So I knew that potentially there could be a higher risk. And to be honest, probably the first 6 months when Rory was born, I thought that perhaps he wasn't going to be autistic. He wasn't going to have autism. But actually, once we got through the first 6 months, it became sort of more and more obvious. And actually, he's lower functioning than Logan is. Logan is quite high functioning. Rudy is lower. So his speech is a long way off. I would say he's probably about 1 year delayed.
Okay.
But thank goodness you've caught it at this point, because 1 year is something that you can catch up on.
Right.
Whereas
Absolutely.
it's great that you caught it. But let's talk a little bit more about the Waggy Dog, because this benefits not only your 2 sons, but so many other people in the community. What have been some of the things that you have seen, Laura, happen as a result of having this program? What are some of the stories that you've got of kids making progress?
That's something that's really exciting. Initially, when we just started with a Lego club. My friend and I, Sarah, the other co-founder. So we started off small with a Lego club, and the first few weeks when the children came along, it was obviously different for them. The lighting, the sounds, different people, different adults, just very strange for them. But because we kept the setup the same every time the children came along, they became familiar with it. So by around week 3, week 4, they started to recognise the other children's faces, and they start to create those sort of relationships, and call the other children their friends, because they're seeing them on a regular basis, the same setup. And we saw that the children's faces were actually starting to light up. They were starting to engage and start to share the Lego with the other children in their own way. Not as you would normally expect to see in a regular Lego club, but, in their own way. And we then started to look at other clubs. So we do lots of different things with, Halloween is coming up, which can be quite a difficult time for our children. So it's done in a way that the stimuli is a little bit lower for them, but they recognise their friends because it's the same children and the same adults that are coming along. And they're also part of creating some of the decorations and those types of things. We do all sorts of fun days where they can come along, a bouncy castle, which can be typically quite difficult for children on the spectrum to go on with, mainstream children. And they get access to these sort of experiences, and then it becomes the normal for them.
And you also place these dogs with private homes, is that correct?
Yes, the dog program is a separate thing. We then branched out into that because I looked at a dog for my son Logan, because when he goes out, he finds it difficult to go through doors. So in stores and things like that, it can be very difficult for him. So he has his dog called Gatsby, who's a black lab. And what happens is that the children's focus is then on the dog and not the environment that they're in. So we currently have 26 dogs ranging from puppy through to about 2 years old that are with our families, and they're working with them to become full, assistance dogs. I think in the US you call them service dogs.
Uh-huh.
And those dogs then have access to go into the stores, on public transport, that type of thing.
Who trains your dogs for you?
We have qualified trainers. We initially started we had one club in West Lothian, which is on the east coast of Scotland, and we have just opened a new place in the west coast, more on the Glasgow side, and that's again a qualified trainer. And we're actually, to meet demand, we are now looking at a third centre, because we've grown quite a lot in 1 year.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're expanding to Georgia. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I found, I'm not sure what it's like in every state, but the awareness is not the same across it's the same in Scotland. We've done quite a lot of work in Scotland about raising awareness on autism and, acceptance. And I found since coming to Georgia that, I am getting people coming up and talking to me and asking me about the dog and about my son, and I'm happy, obviously, to talk about that. But I would like to branch out here as well, in the US, and that is my plan, to be able to have an assistance dog program here as well, and specifically for children and young adults with autism. But to be a sort of recognised brand on this side, and also, setting up clubs and things, because I've still to find clubs here.
Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely, it's a wonderful idea. So where in Georgia are you right now working on developing a program there?
So I'm just outside Atlanta just now. And through our website and our Facebook page, I've managed to get in touch with a couple of people. So I'm working quite closely at the moment, and about to formalise a relationship with a trainer on this side. And I also have a female dog that hopefully I should then be able to develop our breeding program, because we have a Logan's Gift where we donate one dog out of each litter that we have to a family that require, that meet our needs.
What an amazing thing. So
tell us how people can reach you. You mentioned your Facebook site and your website. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so we have an online presence. We have our website is www.thewaggydogproject.com, and we also have a very active Facebook page, which again is the Waggy Dog Project. It's very active. There's lots of updates regularly on there and what we're doing.
Okay.
just amazing.
Yes, the one small that you got this idea, now it's growing at such a tremendous rate.
Yeah.
What are your long-term goals?
Long-term goals?
Yes.
take over the world.
All right.
Okay. I don't doubt you will do that.
I don't doubt it either. And with such a
Yeah.
lovely accent, too.
Yes.
I could just spend all day listening to you, Laura.
Thank you so much.
Truly wonderful, and we hope you're having a good time in Georgia, and that the Georgian South is treating you well. Is everybody being nice?
It's very hot.
Oh, well, there's
Yeah.
that it is that time of year.
Yeah, it's very hot.
Hopefully a peach will mitigate that for you.
Yes, the Georgia peaches are lovely.
They are. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Good
Thank you
luck
for
to
being
you.
such an inspiration and doing this wonderful project. Keep us in touch. Keep in touch with us.
Right, as you grow, so we
Yes.
can let people know about it.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Okay.
Thank you, and good
Bye-bye.
luck to you and your family. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
I'm always amazed by these amazing moms.
I
who
know, they just start with something small and then it
do
grows and
something,
grows.
and it always it recharges my
right,
batteries,
it
right?
does,
It makes
it
me
does.
go, all right, get up off the couch, woman. What have you done lately? That's what I say to myself. Okay, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back with Grant Monnier and talk with him about his art, which is just stunning.
Stunning artwork.
So stick with-
mosaics that
Oh.
he does with paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff. So stick with
Okay.
us. We'll be back after these messages.
Inclusion is everything. Feeling like we have a place where we belong, and when I say we, I'm first and foremost a mother of a child on the spectrum and not, and gym owner and now founder of carrying this to families who need it as well.
My son is extremely hyperactive. Getting him to calm down is a very difficult task. So the idea of Rock the Spectrum Gym, where he could just go and run and play and do all these fun things without any kind of worries and just go, go, go and bring down that energy, it helps us so much at home. You know, in the home or at school, it's not acceptable, but this is the one place it is acceptable for the child to kind of be themselves and get it all out there and just really just be themselves.
It's an amazing place where my son could go and be himself. You get to meet other parents who are in the same journey as you are.
I think the most popular aspect of it is how they include all children of all types, not just only learning disabled, lower functioning, moderate functioning, high functioning, and non-disabled.
The people there are so friendly, everybody's like family, they always greet you with a smile. There's not one negative thing I could say about any of the employees. They're all absolutely amazing. I think every parent should walk in through those doors and see what an amazing gym it is.
Now a diagnosis being 1 out of 6 kids are in some way or form affected with sensory processing disorder or autism. That's why We Rock Now is on the rise. People want to be a part of it. People know that they have a community there. They know that they can learn more information about things that they don't know themselves or that they can share, build friendships, and basically get what you get in an OT facility, but it's not $150 an hour. It's $12.
Can you say hello? Say hello.
AJ?
Stop crying.
AJ, let's eat. Can you eat, AJ? Let's eat, son. Have a fry. My understanding of autism was very limited.
He would lick tires on cars, windows, you name it.
And so we went to the 13-month checkup, and I remember our pediatrician, he said, well, he probably has autism. There's nothing you can do about it. Come back in a year when he's 3.
Our initial understanding of what the ABA program was basically all we picked up from this clinic in San Antonio.
He didn't pick up any signs the entire 8 months that he was there. I think the difference came when we changed vendors.
We were very impressed with the way that CARD actually gathered data to be able to quantify the progress that he was making. They have a curriculum that they follow that's tailored to each child. They were identifying AJ's strengths and weaknesses.
We were finally starting to see real progress.
Good, AJ. Here's eggs.
The first thing CARD did for us was, I remember the first time AJ said, Mommy, I want you. And that was the most wonderful thing ever. There's hope.
Yeah,
That's when I knew that there was hope. I never thought that AJ would be able to say that. It was like a gift from God. It was so fantastic.
With CARD, we got him enrolled in a private school.
And he was in a typical classroom. He would go from activity to activity. He could sit when he was supposed to sit. He could be around typical kids. The goal is for CARD to work themselves out of a job. It's for AJ to be in a mainstream classroom with no help, and he's functional and he's learning. We're really grateful to all of the therapists. AJ would not be where he is without them, and we will never be able to repay the part of themselves that they gave to him to make his life better and to make our lives better.
And we are back, and as promised, we have now been joined by one of the most exciting emerging young artists around today. His name is Grant Monnier. Grant, welcome to the show.
Hi, good to be here.
Good to have you here, and I see some of your artwork there is in the background. What's even more amazing is that you've done all this with what most would consider a disability, but you consider an ability, autism, and you're an example of how this disorder, how you can take something that most people might consider not a gift, which is tearing torn, cut pieces of fabric and paper from recycled calendars, magazines, posters, puzzles, and working on eco-impressionist pieces.
So let's start with do you say it eco art or eco art?
Eco.
Eco.
The word echo has H in it.
Oh, very good point.
Eco.
Okay.
The word echo has an H in it. So, what is eco art? Well, eco art is a form of art. It's an art genre where you take recycled materials, recycle, reduce, and reuse them and create recycled art, or I call them eco art masterpieces. Like my art pieces back behind me, they're all made out of recycled paper.
Beautiful pieces. They're absolutely beautiful.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
How long have you been doing this, Grant?
I've been doing this my whole life, ever since I was 4 years old. But I didn't get into the business aspects of it all until I was 15.
Okay. And go ahead, Shannon.
Well, I was just going to say, so this in some way stems from when you were doing therapy. Talk to us a little bit about what happened that created this.
So you want the connection between my autism and paper? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, well, the connection between my autism and paper, it's how it makes me feel. See, because I still have some anxieties, so I just go to my paper, and I just cut and tear away, and I let all my anxieties just flow right out of me. It makes me feel better. It's a form of meditation.
Okay.
I love that.
Where do you find the materials to create your art?
Oh, I find my materials everywhere, but my mom finds most of them. She finds them at Goodwill, schools, garage sales. Sometimes friends give their recycled paper to us, and sometimes people even mail us their puzzle boxes.
Amazing. And you call these collages. Why?
Well, my art is a form of collaging, but I use cool colors, cool shapes, and cool textures. So I combine the two and created collages.
Oh, collages.
Collages.
I'm sorry. I was saying
Yeah.
collages. You call them collages. Okay.
Right.
They are collages.
Where can people get your art?
Well, people can find my art and my prints at my website, Jigsaw, like a puzzle,
right?
jigsawgrant.com.
Okay, jigsawgrant.com.
I love it. And we have heard that you and your mother have written a children's book, and can you tell us about that?
I'd love to. We wrote this book a year ago. It's called Grant the Jigsaw Giraffe, Different is More. It was inspired after my eco art original, Grant the Jigsaw Giraffe.
It's beautiful.
And of course, he wasn't born with normal spots like a giraffe normally has. He was born with puzzle markings, all jigsaw and brown.
I love it.
Now, Grant the giraffe, he does have his challenges, but his biggest challenge is how is he going to be a painter? He wants to be a painter, but how will he hold a paintbrush if he has gloves? And you see, this story is actually my story, but with a little twist.
Right.
I'm a giraffe. Named Grant. And of course, the book also comes with a plush toy giraffe, also named Grant.
I love it.
And of course, the book also has some of my other animals to it as well. The orangutan, the owl, panda, peacock, and macaw. And this book also comes with a special feature. It's printed with a dyslexia-friendly font. It allows the reader to enjoy reading this book, and it allows those who are struggling to read this book comfortably. And this book has also won a Children's Award from the Texas Governor's Committee for Disabilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you can find this book and plush toy on my website as well. Jigsaw, like a puzzle, jigsawgrant.com.
How long does it take you to create some of these masterpieces you've done?
Well, simple pieces can take about a week or two to make, while a complex piece can take about a month or longer to make. See this macaw behind me? She took months to create.
Well, it was worth the
And that's
time.
mostly because she's a tall piece.
And you sell some of your original pieces, isn't that correct, Grant?
I try to hold on to my originals as much as possible, but when we were hit by Hurricane Harvey, I had to sell a couple.
Okay. Well, even, do you ever do prints of your original work and sell those? Because they're so stunning.
Yes, I do have prints of my originals as well. Like I said, you can find it on my website, jigsawgrant.com.
And you've received a lot of awards for your art. Tell us about some of the awards you've received.
Well, my first award was the Eco Art Grand Championship at the Austin Rodeo. But ever since I won that award, I won numerous others. Not to mention that award has also started something. Teachers started calling me and asking if I could teach their students how to recycle and how to create eco art like I do. See, to me, that's my way of helping the planet.
Right. That's a very good thing that you're doing in terms of that. Now tell us about your mom. She's been very supportive of you. How has she helped you become the man you are today and the artist you are today?
My mom, let me tell you, she's not a quitter. She's smart. She's creative. She saw a talent in me when no one else did. They wanted to give up on me. But she always told me, Grant, cross the finish line, even if you're in last place, because finishing is still a great feeling, no matter what place you're in.
So she saw this ability in you to do this art and encouraged you?
That's correct.
I want to know, of all of your pieces of art, which one is your favorite?
Actually, there's two answers to that. There's my favorite piece, and then there's my best piece.
Okay.
My favorite piece is the Caribbean Owl, but my best piece is my next one.
Oh, the one that you're about to do. What a great answer that is,
Yeah.
Grant. That's a brilliant answer. That's absolutely wonderful. Okay, Grant, if you could change the world with a message about people with special needs, what would that message be?
It's not what we can't do, it's what we can do that makes the difference. You were born different, so make a difference.
That's a great message. What advice would you give to someone who has a passion to do something with their creativity, but they don't know where to start?
Start by taking pictures and videos of yourself. You'll want these for your social media pages. Practice, practice, and practice in front of the camera. To me, that's the best way to start.
And you are such a talented artist. If you could meet any artist, who would you like to meet?
Well, how do I answer that one? I would have to say, me, in 20 years. I want to know what happens to my art.
Okay.
Am I famous? Am I not? I gotta know.
I love it. I think it's definite you're going to be famous.
Do you have other hobbies, Grant, that you do besides this? This is very time consuming.
Oh, I have other hobbies. I go swimming, I love bowling, and I do a little gaming on the side.
Okay.
And Grant, do you have a plan to go to college?
Actually, I'm going to college part-time, studying art and business.
Art and business. Wow.
What a partner. The two of those together.
And do you work outside of the art business? Do you have any other jobs you do?
Yes, I work part-time at Staples. You see, after I graduated from high school, I realized that I needed a break from 40 hours a week of art, and Staples was the perfect place. I'm meeting new people, I'm learning job skills, and I'm driving back and forth for work. It's perfect.
Wow. So between your job at Staples, your art, going to college, you really have a full schedule.
I do my best.
So not only that, Nancy, he does fundraising. I understand that you've raised money for schools and organizations. How did you do that?
Well, when I go to art events, there are some shows that I do for fundraisers, and I do donate some of my art and my prints. And so far, I raised over $150,000 for great causes with my
goodness.
art.
Wow.
And all that money has gone towards wheelchairs, hearing aids, scholarships, therapy, and we even help first responders.
That's amazing, Grant.
That is absolutely
Good for you.
Amazing.
Good for
so
you.
we're almost out of time, Grant, but we want to know from you, what is it like to have autism?
Well, I don't know what it's like to not have autism. I embrace it. I accept it. Like my black hair. I don't know what it's like to not have black hair. I embrace it. I made the best of it. Because there's nothing wrong with me having black hair. And there's nothing wrong with me having autism either. I'm making the best of it.
Grant, you're such an inspiration.
You are.
Tell us your website again.
It's Jigsaw, like a puzzle, jigsawgrant.com.
JigsawGrant.com. And you can see his amazing pieces. You've seen them throughout this interview. They're just stunning.
They're absolutely stunning.
And we wish you the very best of luck with continuing with your art, Grant, and your college and everything else.
Thank you very much. And thank all of you for listening to me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. You're such an inspiration. Thank you so much for being with us. Stay in touch, okay?
I will.
Okay.
You too, keep that.
Bye-bye. Oh, it's just breathtaking.
I know.
What a wonderful gentleman and an artist.
He was a great interview, too.
Yes, great interview.
Okay.
We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back to close out the show and tell you what we have going on tomorrow. So stick with us.
A lot of adults don't really believe kids. They'll think, kids are kids. What are they talking about? But when a child stands up for what they believe in, it's so strong and powerful. I first got involved with autism advocacy 4 years ago when my friend was diagnosed. When I found out about my friend's diagnosis, I didn't really understand what it meant. But it didn't matter to me or change our friendship. I didn't look at her any differently. We still had so much fun together. Now I know that she experiences life a little differently than me, and that's okay. Knowing what she goes through has helped me to understand and be more caring towards other people in similar situations. I got involved with ACT Today because I wanted to do whatever I could to help. They provide options like behavioral therapy, medical care, social skills programs, assistance to military families, and much more. Being there for my friend was my #1 priority. I've been volunteering and spreading the word about the cause via my social media platform because raising awareness is a crucial first step. There needs to be more kids and teens involved to make sure that our voices are heard just as loudly as the adults. You may be small like me, but your acts of kindness are not.
We're back.
We are.
Grant was an amazing interview, wasn't he?
He was
Yeah,
just
what a delightful
so,
young
so
man.
luscious. So we've only got a couple of minutes here, but I promised that I was going to look up the Temple Grandin to see
Right.
what the 3 brain types are. So according to her, there's visual, verbal, which are people that are logic based, and then there are pattern thinkers, and those are the musical mathematician, where they see patterns and they see a whole picture. So it was the verbal one, which is hilarious
Right.
to me because I tend to be very verbal as well.
Right.
But it's the logic piece that I'm missing.
Yeah,
And-
the logic piece I'm missing as well, I think.
And all of us have, neurotypical people have some element of each
Of
one
both,
of these
sure,
things.
crosses over.
We have one that tends to be stronger.
Uh-huh.
It's just that with people with autism, they tend to have one that is significantly stronger.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily follow that there are deficits in the other areas, but a lot of times there are because we lean into our strengths.
Right, right.
And they've even gone so far as to do an MRI of Temple's brain, and there's the visual cortex that they show what it is in a typical person.
Right.
And you can, in Temple's, it's like a tree trunk.
Right, right.
It's just like crazy how much wider it is in her.
Yeah.
Her brain is literally wired differently.
Right.
And I don't know, there's something that's very peaceful in that for me. That it's not, you know, for people who are black and white thinkers and you try to talk to them about what autism is and they
Right.
can't quite get their
Right.
finger on it and they struggle and they tend to think of it as just a deficit. You know, you show them that picture of Temple Grandin's brain and the drawings that she can do and they go, oh, it really is a different
way of thinking.
And when we start thinking of difference instead of
deficit,
yes, the whole.
I
I
agree.
love what your friend Howie says about that. Not. I'm talking about Howie the.
Howie Hoffman?
No, I'm talking about Howie the comedian.
Mandel.
Howie Mandel. Thank you. He says we have to stop talking about disability and start talking about this ability.
This ability. I love that
This
quote.
ability.